Welcome to this explainer. I want you to just take a second and imagine sinking into a place where the light fades away entirely. We're turning our attention away from the safe, the familiar, and we're descending into the deep, totally uncharted waters of our own planet. We're looking at abyssal enigmas, 5 unsolved mysteries of the deep. The information we're about to unpack from these source files paints a picture of a world that is just as fascinating as it is absolutely terrifying. Let's begin our descent. So what if the ocean is hiding things humanity was never supposed to find? We spend so much time looking up at the stars with this immense sense of wonder. But the world right beneath the waves, it's a place that is actually darker than space. It's this vast, suffocating expanse filled with echoes, unseen creatures, and strange anomalies that scientists, even to this day, simply cannot explain. And these aren't science fiction stories, these are heavily documented scientific mysteries, and they point to a deeply unsettling reality right here on our own planet. Section 1. The Ocean's Darkest Secrets, a Descent into the Unknown. Section 2. Sounds from the Abyss, the Unseen Echoes. Picture this. It's 1997. Scientists are monitoring these deep ocean microphones, and suddenly they detect this massive underwater sound. But it wasn't just in one spot. This sound was so incredibly powerful that it literally echoed across the entire Pacific Ocean. When experts analyzed the audio profile, they were forced to propose a truly horrifying hypothesis. They suggested it might be an unknown creature, something larger than any whale humanity had ever discovered. It was officially classified in the case files as the bloop, a mysterious, ultra-low frequency and extremely powerful underwater sound. Now, that name might sound a little harmless, but it stands as a chilling reminder that the ocean operates on a scale we can barely wrap our heads around. It's producing these low-frequency rumbles that can travel thousands of miles through the dark waters. Section 3. Alien Life and Leviathans, the Biology of the Abyss. 36,000. Just let that number sink in for a moment. This figure represents the terrifying scale of the Mariana Trench, nearly 36,000 feet deep. It's the deepest known place on Earth. To really put that into perspective, if you took Mount Everest and dropped it straight into the Mariana Trench, the very peak of the mountain would still be completely submerged underwater. Down there, the environment is hostile beyond anything you can imagine. And yet, life exists there. Against all logical odds, in total, suffocating darkness, and under a crushing pressure that would instantly crumple a conventional submarine, creatures somehow survive. The source files describe them as glowing, almost alien-like creatures. These are bizarre fish that have adapted to an environment so extreme, they seriously look like they belong on another planet, just emerging from the pitch black to hunt. For centuries, we basically had this myth, right? Sailors returning from the dark waters, telling these terrified tales of sea monsters and krakens dragging entire ships down into the abyss. And we just dismissed them as folklore. Until modern reality set in. Scientists finally started capturing these massive tentacles moving through the dark water on camera. It turns out, the monsters were real all along. 40. Some of these leviathans grow over 40 feet long. That is literally the size of a city bus, just swimming quietly in the shadows beneath our boats. And you know what the most chilling part of the scientific literature on these creatures is? We still know almost nothing about them. They are massive, apex predators of the deep, and yet they remain almost entirely a mystery to humanity. Section 4. Relics of the Deep, Echoes of Humanity. Deep beneath the surface, we found these strange underwater structures that have sparked some really intense debate. Are they just natural formations? Weird shapes slowly carved by deep-sea currents? Or are they lost civilizations, ancient, submerged ruins captured on our sonar scans? The geometric perfection of some of these formations really leaves experts wondering if humanity's forgotten history is just sitting down there buried beneath the crushing waves. But here's the thing. Not all relics of the deep are ancient. Some are actually chillingly recent. We're talking about ghost ships drifting completely alone in the fog. Across the oceans, modern vessels have been discovered just drifting, aimlessly, completely abandoned by everyone who was supposed to be aboard. No crew, no distress signal, no explanation. Researchers examining these abandoned vessels note that in some cases it honestly looked as if the crew simply vanished into thin air right in the middle of dinner. Plates were left on tables, personal belongings were completely untouched. Just an empty ship drifting above the abyss. What pulled them away? Where did they go? Section 5. The unknown stares back. The final abyss. Humanity has poured endless resources into looking up. We've mapped vast amounts of outer space, we know what the surfaces of distant planets look like, yet our very own planet remains this dark, terrifying frontier of unsolved mysteries. It's crazy to think about, but we actually know less about the deep, dark trenches of Earth than we do about the cold vacuum of space. We naturally strive to classify things, to understand them, to illuminate the dark. But when you really stop and consider the crushing pressure, the total darkness, and the sheer terrifying scale of what lies beneath, it kind of makes you wonder if perhaps some mysteries were never meant to be solved by humanity at all. These case files really leave us with one final lingering thought. So the next time you look out into the sea, remember, something could be staring back. Because if we have barely scratched the surface of the abyss, what else is waiting for us out there in the dark?